Good morning, everybody. I hope that you had a great weekend and you are ready for a great workout today. So coming at you with some variations and some new moves as well. The first one that we're going to talk about is a dumbbell sprawl. Most of you have done a dumbbell sprawl before, but I want to make sure we remember all the cues and fine points. So dumbbell sprawl means we're going to be using a pair of dumbbells throughout the move, almost as if they're glued to our hands. So the way that it's going to work is my feet are going to start directly behind my dumbbells. I'm going to lower into a squat. You can take your knees to the outside. Once I get to the squat, it is just like a sprawl that we normally do. You can either hop it, land in that strong plank and hop back in, or you can walk it foot, plank, coming back in, rock back to your heels, stand up nice and tall. The most important thing that you just heard me say was rock back to your heels. That's going to ensure that you stand up in a nice strong squat rather than with the chest forward and the weights pulling on your low back. So again, I'm going to go down. They go right in front, weights back in the heels. I'm going to hop it out, plank, hop it in, rock back, stand tall. So one thing that'll help you as you come back in is to make sure that you are attempting to bring your feet as close to your hands as you can. So if by hopping, I only get to about right here, I'm going to go ahead and walk my feet in a little bit closer so that I can sit back and pick up into that squat. If you try to stand from feet back here, the only way to get this weight up is to end up with it way in front of your body, pulling on a rounded back, which is a position that we never want to do. So bring those feet in nice and close, drop the hips, sit back in the heels, and stand it tall from there. Alrighty, set those down. Coming up next, we're going to take a variation on our hitchhiker. So we've done hitchhikers for a week or so now. We're going to take an arm variation. So we're continuing to work the upper back, strengthening between the shoulder blades as well as the spine and the glutes. We're going to add a little bit more shoulder to it. So the movement, same position face down, heels locked together. My thumbs are still up to the ceiling. Movement number one is I'm going to lift the upper body off the ground. I'm going to take a circle going backwards, and then a circle coming forward, and then lower. So keeping the glutes squeezed, I'm going to lift, circle, circle, and drop. What you should feel more than anything else is a really good burn going between your shoulder blades, and in a lot of those little supporting muscle groups, our rotator cuff muscle groups mainly, within the shoulders. So that one is not a speed move. Slow down a little bit. You're only doing 6 at a time. Remember, you got to go forward and backwards to count the repetition. All right, focus on those strong shoulders. Excellent. Moving on, we have our V-ups from flat. Turn sideways just a little bit. So we've worked on our tuck-ins from flat. We're going to work on our V-ups from flat. These are going to be more challenging, but I'm going to show you some modifications that you can do. So our V-ups from flat start the same as our tuck-ins from flat. Legs are stretched out, arms are stretched out, abs pull in tight, press the low back down. We're lifting everything up, trying to control everything back down together. So everything lifts, reach for the toes, and back down. So the majority of us, because of the weight of our legs, gonna have a really hard time getting everything to come up together while also keeping that low back pressed down. So a couple things, just like on the tuck-ins, you can pull your upper body up first. So I can pull my upper body up a little bit and then attempt to lift the legs to meet it. And then back down. So again, that modification, press the low back down, lift the upper body first, then pull the legs up to meet the feet, and lower back down. Another thing that you can do is kind of modify the tuck-in that we do. So instead of keeping the legs all the way out straight, which can put more stress on your low back if you're still working on strengthening your core, is to bend the knees a little bit. So get a little bend in my knees. Abs are in tight, pressing that low back down. I'm going to pull up and then meet everything in the middle and back down. So the longer your lever is, the longer, straighter your legs are, farther away your arms, the more challenging that V is going to be. Bring everything in a little bit as you need to in order to do the move. Again, you only have 6, so focus on a really good, strong 6 V-ups. Okay, we're going to practice that get up from the floor again, so I'm just going to quickly review it. So remember, on your get up that starts on the floor, whichever knee is up is the arm that's up. I grab my dumbbell. So knee up, arm up, which means the other side of the body is lying on the floor. Abs in tight, I'm going to roll up on to the arm on the floor and press all the way up. And then remember, you can add that challenge here, pushing through the foot on the floor and the hand by lifting the hips. And then control lower back down. Again, lean onto the straight arm, push to the ceiling, lift the hips, and all the way back down. If you did not use a dumbbell last week when we talked about these, grab something that's small and give it a try. It really makes a difference when it comes to focusing on where your arm is. If you don't have any weight in that arm, it's real easy for that arm to just kind of go wherever it wants. All it takes is putting a couple pounds in that arm to really feel a difference of keeping it overhead, to force the core to work a little bit harder versus just the chest dropping forward and rolling back and forth. So add some weight to that side. Remember, when you switch sides, it's the same thing. Leg up, arm up, everything else on the floor. All right, last review is beetles. It's been a few weeks since we've done beetles, so just a quick review on them. Remember, you start facing me, hands and feet. Knees are right underneath you. So from the side view, my knees are right underneath my hips. And then from here, rotate the hips, slide a leg through. You're going to kick that hand out of the way and pull it all back into center. Rotate the other way, hips turn, kick that arm out of your way, back to center. This is definitely a move that if you can do in your garage or on a hard floor, you can even take your shoes off for these if you can get them back on pretty quick. You actually wouldn't need your shoes if, because this block is just the get-ups from the floor and beetles, so you will swish a lot faster, swish, or rotate, pivot a lot faster if you are either on a garage floor or if you take your shoes off and you're on a wood floor on your socks. It'll be easier to pivot on these beetles and make them go a little bit faster. All right, guys, I hope you have a good workout. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will help you out. Have fun.